Basketball Talk Pro. I'm Ron Ekker. A couple of things I want to bring up before we get into the subject. First of all, you probably are watching this on Monday. The meeting on Monday is at 8 o'clock. I recommend you to take part. Don Showalter is going to be there. He's making a big sacrifice because he had another commitment, but he changed to be here. So this is a chance. You will have heard the lecture, of course, over the weekend, but this is much better. You're going to get a chance to ask him questions and listen to other people ask him questions, and he will talk to what you want to hear. Just great example. Here's a man that's got it figured out, and has had it figured out for a long time. You'd be foolish and not very dedicated to your craft if you overlooked the opportunity to hear what this legendary high school coach has to say. So try to make it tonight. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time. A lot of you are on the Central time. It'd be 7 o'clock Central time. The other thing I want to remind you, and I continue to remind you, is we have now about 15 days left until the discount for the course goes off. I want you to be involved in this because I think it's very important, and I'll give you two reasons. One is, in the future, it may have a large effect on your job, or not getting a job, not being able to move when you wanted to move, because you can't stop it. The statistics and measurement and the use of them is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. That's one reason. Protect yourself. The other reason is it helps you to win. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always been concerned that the guy sitting on that other bench has prepared himself better than me. You don't want to be in that situation. Get in, learn how it can help you. Our course is based on using it, not just a toy, but using it every day. So take advantage of that. Remember, all you have to do is email me. I will email you back with a link. You'll get the discount and you can enroll. It's very simple. And I give you all the instructions. Today we're going to talk to you about zone offense. It's very easy for us because if you have taught the monk offense correctly and have used it and got some experience in it, that's what we use against the zone defense. The zone defense doesn't like it because it does the things that zone defenses have trouble with. But you have to kind of understand the nature of a zone defense. It's just a little bit different because the zone people don't have responsibility for a particular man. Now that doesn't mean they won't be guarding a man, but they don't have that responsibility. So what they have to do is release the man to another zone. This creates some problems for them, and especially if you have continuous motion. Now a lot of teams approach it by moving the ball around the outside. You know, if you play zone yourself, you know that is not very difficult to adjust to. What is difficult is the combination of passing, moving the ball, with moving people, because now you have a lot of decisions to make in the zone zone defense. It's the nature of the zone, but don't overlook the zone defense because it can be very troublesome. For one thing, it's very hard to scramble a zone, and you have to work at it. I watched this guy at Syracuse play that 2-on-2 You know, they're always in position. They don't get scrambled. You know, they're not rotating or anything like that. So they're always got 5 men between you and the basket. And the only way you can overcome that is with movement of people and movement of the ball. A lot of coaches, and I guess maybe I'd be one of them, don't like to practice the zone offense against the zone defense because it slows things down. It's not as, you know, you can run plays without defense. They look great. They're spiffy. You can't do that with a zone. I don't know how you practice without a defense when you're trying to accomplish something with a zone offense. It slows things down. Coaches don't like it. That's why they're not very good at it. And the other thing is you need to have a zone defense to practice against. For us, that creates a problem because the rover zone that we should teach and work with, that rover takes away a lot of cuts and a lot of drives, and in fact drives almost all of them. So you have a little more trouble running the Monk offense against the rover defense, but it's still good practice for you. And you still can find those gaps and holes. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. The shifting of the zone creates two things that you need to be alert to take advantage of. If you read in my book, you'll get a much better detailed version. But basically, the shifting of the zone creates gaps. Now, what our saying is, drive into gaps, cut into holes. And we will show you in a little bit the difference between a gap and a hole. But the zone has both of them. If you move them, you move the ball, you move yourself, and you're alert. Takes time. Takes time to be able to recognize them and do something correctly about them. But in a course of working against 5-on-5, players will learn and have a feeling for when they should cut into a hole, when they should drive into a gap. But you need that practice. Now I want to go on, I call it the whiteboard. Actually it's going to the computer. But there I can show you the difference between a gap and a hole, and also some possibilities of when they might occur and how they occur, and using our zone, our Monk offense against it. So let's take a look at that now. This diagram, the diagrams here, are actually in my book. This is coming right out of my book. It's very difficult, as I said before, to really show the gaps and the holes that occur and what might occur when you use motion along with both drives and cuts, because it just is a kind of a ghost-like area. They appear, and it takes time and practice and experience for players to see those situations. Be careful, though, that you don't start telling them where they will be, because there's no guarantee. Almost every time they change. I drew this up just to show you our first cut in Monk offense is to hit the wing and then cut through. Now, I have up there just a 2-1-2. I've dropped the X1 back quite a bit more. He probably would be more out in here, and now when the cut takes place,
he drops in. But see, in the zone, like I said, there's no responsibility for a man. So he's going to release this cutter somewhere in there. So one hole that could occur, or one gap, is if X3 takes the ball at the wing, which is a little bit unlikely, except they might do it initially and then drop off and let X1 take it. But that creates a big hole on the baseline. Though I've seen it happen, just exactly like I have drawn it. So this is a hole. This is a gap. As this guy cuts, and before X3 gets, X1 drops him off. This is a gap that man can drive into. And I wanted to show you the difference. Now, on the next sequence, X3 drops off and X1 takes the ball, which is probably how most of them are going to handle it. Now, you still have the gap here, but usually where you'll find most holes are on the weak side. So X5 has because of the way they're playing, X5 now has got to honor that cutter going through. So that creates a hole in here for a person to cut into. Remember, we drive on gaps and cut into holes. Now I'm just going to move this down a little bit and show you another setup here. Be patient with me, it's going pretty fast. Okay. Okay, this is just a carry on of our monk offense cut. Say he cuts through. This is going to kind of drag X5 off on that in that cut. But here is the gap right here. Here is the hole. X5 follows a little bit. Now you have a nice hole in there, and somebody needs to cut into it. And in this situation, um, we're more in a X5 has cut into that hole. That creates another hole right here and another one here. Now these are just kind of drawn up to show you the concept more than show you exact things. Be patient and allow your players to practice 5-on-5. It's the only way that they will learn and get the experience necessary to develop the drives, develop the cuts, develop rebounding, and develop transition. You have to take the time to do this in practice. So just wanted to show you some of the holes and gaps here, the possibilities, and now we'll go back to a live lecture.
Well, I want to finish up. This is kind of a quick talk about the zone. Please, if you don't have a copy of the book, get Volume 3 because Volume 3 covers it in more detail. I don't know how much zone you run against, but if you run against it a lot, you need to practice it a lot. But here's some things. There's 5 things I think that you need to remember about a zone in attacking the zone. Movement hurts the zone. Makes those guys shift and make decisions over and over again. Be relentless with that because that will put a lot of pressure on the zone defense. Cuts hurt zones, zone defenses, especially those zone defenses that don't have a preparation for it. And drives hurt zones. But you probably are going to need to have a pull-up jump shot as you drive into the lane, because you're gonna come up to resistance. That's what the zone does. They have people there. You either need to be very good at the floater, and I know players are getting much better at it, some players, but the pull-up jump shot still has more consistent success. So really, we practice a quick 1 or 2 step drive pull-up, and that works well for us in driving against the zone defense. And rebound, the zone defense, and listen, I play it, but I know that it's difficult to rebound defensively as well as in a man-to-man. And the other thing that hurts them is transition. This is probably the biggest thing. I'm talking about transition at the end of a defensive rebound and a steal, but also when you make any change of possession, even if you take the ball out of bounds, if you push the ball in and get right into the Monk offense as quickly as you can kind of get the zone defense when they're not really solid. And this gives you an opportunity. There's some characteristics, though, you have to have as a coach and your players have to have when you're attacking a zone defense. One of them is patience. It's going to slow it down. In fact, that's one of the reasons I personally use a zone is, when teams get some momentum and they're rolling, to switch to a zone, even if it's for 2 or 3 possessions, slows them down. The rhythm changes, and so it's effective. You cannot let that affect you. You must have your players prepared mentally to accept the fact that it's going to go a little bit slower and not to hurry because of the fact that you've been on a roll, you're playing good, all of a sudden you got to pull back. You have to work with your players mentally to accept that change in the rhythm. And shot selection. There's going to be a lot more open outside shots. That's just the nature of that defense. But that is also what that defense wants you to do. So be careful. By hurrying an outside shot because you get a little opening, you may be taking away a much surer shot if you continue on. So you have to use a lot of judgment on that, but teach your players shot selection. Don't just let them throw up the ball because they're playing against the zone. And transition. Work hard on developing the ability to even push the ball after a made or an out-of-bounds situation. Trying to get there just a hair or a second, fraction of a second earlier so that the zone is not solid yet. Then you got a chance of getting them into at least a mini scramble. Well, you can't afford not to know how to play against the zone defense. You're just setting yourself up. Somebody will figure it out that you can't, you don't know how to play against the zone defense. You have to work on it. And I know a lot of you see a lot of them. When I had the team in China, we saw it most of the time because they could not cope with our man-to-man offense. So we saw it a lot. And yet we were able to overcome it and be successful with the Monk offense, and it was not a lot of new learning for the players. Well, that's it for today. Hope that this has been helpful to you. Remember, it's in the book. There's a chapter on zone offense, and I think the book covers the details very well. But if you have questions, remember, that's why we have the Monday night meeting. And we have a lot more time there, and we can discuss it, and you'll So, we'll see you next time, and thank you for watching.